At this point, there's really only two reasons why this 3UZ LS430 would be puking oil out of the front cover, and that's either this front seal, which I already replaced just 5,000 miles ago, as you can see. Alternatively, it's going to be something wrong with the oil pump itself. So this whole assembly right here meets down at that lower pan. It has the carrier for the crankshaft position sensor, has the oil filter housing that bolts to it. This whole assembly here could be bad and over pressurizing, causing it to puke out of the front cover. I've been giving this a ton of thought and doing a lot of research, and it really only boils down to one of those two things, either the seal or the pump itself. So that really only leaves me with two options, and that is to try the front seal again, or to pull the engine all the way back out like we've already done, so that we can replace the oil pump and have access to the seal, you know, with the oil pump completely out of the car. The problem with that, as I've shared in other videos, is that to get the oil pump off, because there's some studs that come down for the pickup, that means getting the lower black oil pan off and this pan right here, and this one doesn't come out unless you drop the subframe or pull the engine out, both of which sound absolutely terrible because of course it's 95 degrees in Florida right now in the summertime, and also because I already did that. I don't want to do it again. So I'm hoping that maybe that seal is bad, and the first thing I've identified already is that, of course, as you can see, this is a Toyota OEM straight from the dealer front seal, but this one is black, and the one that I got before is also a Toyota OEM, but it is brown. So who knows, maybe this seal was a different production run and it's gonna be better quality, better fit. Maybe that one just had a problem that wasn't exposed for a little while. So first things first, I bought this Lyle seal puller tool because when the pump was out before, I could just knock the seal out from behind, but obviously since the pump is back on, I need something like this to try to get underneath it somehow. I'm not exactly sure how this tool even works. Don't really know how it works, but when I get it positioned, I will show you. Well, it popped out before I could even show you, but I kind of got underneath it like this, basically like that. It's hard to see, but up underneath it. And then I ended up just pulling it out, and I, of course, bashed my elbow into the radiator. That's probably what one of those two things are. But it was relatively easy to pull out in my case. I mean, the seal, like I've said 100 times, only had 5,500 miles, so nothing crazy. So looking at the seals side by side, I mean, they look very, very similar. There are some key differences though. So of course the black one is the true dealer OEM. The part number is molded into that at the top, as you can see. And then other than that, it's interesting, that one says USA on it. Other than that, the markings all look really similar. However, this one here, this brown one, says knock. And then there's some kind of other part number on there. So I'm wondering if this is the, you know, original equipment manufacturer, but just not stamped by Toyota. And then this one obviously is the true one that you would get from the dealer, from Toyota directly. So hopefully we have better luck with this one. And not only that, but this time what we're gonna do is add some sealant to the outside of this front crank seal. So this is just some gasket maker. I didn't have time to get the Toyota one, and I wanna see if this works. But Car Care Nut, Otram, and Cartoon NZ, all kind of like really prolific and knowledgeable UZ creators on YouTube, they all put sealant around the outside of the seal, so when you slide it in, it creates an extra, you know, oil resistant seal around that between the housing and this seal. So that's what we're gonna do this time. I've never done that on any other car before, just because I thought it wasn't necessary, but maybe it's a thing that I'm gonna do. If the old heads are all doing it too, then there's probably a reason why. Then in addition to that, we're gonna put just a tiny, tiny little bit of grease around the lip here to make sure that we get a really good seal and don't accidentally fold this over. From my inspection before we took the seal off, I don't think I rolled it over, but certainly could have. Then of course, while we have all of this out, I need to clean everything in here. I need to get all the oil and grime off of all of this, including down there, which sucks. I mean, I cleaned the oil pans and the oil housing and everything, the oil pump. It was all perfect, and now it doesn't look perfect anymore. However, we can get it back to that point. So just need to clean everything and make sure that that area where the actual seal goes in is going to be crispy and ready to accept our buttery new seal. All right, looking much better. I'm gonna brake clean bath it a little bit. And don't worry, I'm gonna change the oil before we ever start this thing, so do not fear. All right, so we're just gonna go extremely light coating on the outside edge. In fact, I'm just gonna put this in my finger and do it so I can kind of control what this looks like. So we're just gonna go start basically just like arts and crafts our way with this seal, just like this. Nothing too crazy, but just enough that we're gonna have an extra layer of sealant. What we're gonna do from here is just a tiny, tiny little bit of grease. I'm just gonna take this, Actually, that's a little bit too much. Probably that's even too much. Just lightly around the inside edge so that that lip has something to slide over and we don't accidentally mess this up. So the key here is when we slide this on, this little like texturized lip inside of there, we don't want that to be folded over. So I'm just gonna have to pay attention to that, and you're gonna have to trust me that it goes in properly because I can't really show you. All right, so I think the seal installation was successful. Only thing I'm kind of a little bit bummed about is that there seems to be like a little bit of gap there between the sealant and the housing, and I was hoping for like a pretty solid grip there, but I don't see the lip folded over anywhere around, including underneath. So I think this seal is probably good. And if this happens again, then it is almost certainly going to be something with the oil pump. So at this point, I mean, there's nothing left to do but start putting it back together. And I did go ahead and buy a brand new OEM timing belt from the dealer as well, which wasn't cheap, but I didn't want to reuse the old one, and especially because it didn't have the marks. So now we'll be good to safely put this thing back on. Hopefully all of this is not coming back off, but we'll see, we'll see. All right, starting to make some progress. The belt is routed and everything is positioned. I turned this cam just by hand to get it to line up more perfectly because I wasn't happy with it being just a little bit past, and since this bolt is so tight, all I had to do was get a 19 on here and just lightly rotate it, even though obviously I don't want to loosen this. That's not intended to turn it. Really, I need to take the valve cover off and use a wrench on it. Now I need to get the tensioner back on, and I had to compress this in my vise, and in doing so, my vise ripped out of the table, so that's pretty cool. So now that the tensioner is compressed, I can put that back up under here. Okay, so belt's still lined up, L-cam, R-cam, got the tensioner on. I'm an idiot, and I was trying to put it on at 90 degrees from here. Obviously it goes like this, and it's nice and tight. So then the cam, the crankshaft down here, you can see the cam mark is lined up with the single little dot. So we are good. I can go ahead and pull the pin on the tensioner and try to get everything sorted back out into such a spot where we can try to start it up again and see if we still have the gargantuan leak. This is always satisfying. Let's see if I can get this out easily. Oh, it's stuck. Oh, it's stuck. Oh, shit. This is the part where I stab a hole through the radiator when it busts. Oh, destroying the Allen. Oh, almost did it. I did make contact with the radiator. Well, the pin is out, this is bent, but whatever. Our tensioner is back installed. A couple more pulleys back on and the fan bracket back on, so we're starting to make some progress. But for my next trick, I have to figure out how the heck to get this nut off of this stud. Seems like that kind of stud piece right there is like a 14, but I can't fit that on because this little like metal bracket thing is popping out. And I tried to knock it down a bit with a brass punch, and it just broke that thing. So I need to figure that out because that goes right in here, and it's actually part of the oil pump that runs into the block itself. So we need to get that fixed because that alternator is supposed to slide off the stud, but it is really, really hot, and I'm gonna have to go take a break for a bit. All right, so this might end up being a giant mistake, but I am draining the oil, and I'm gonna swap the filter out. The filter is removed. The reason I'm doing that is I wanna make sure that I have fresh oil, fresh filter, kind of eliminate the possibility that that weird, like Valvoline cleaner oil that I bought was causing any kind of issues, and then maybe that Toyota oil filter was defective. I really don't think that's the case, but I just want to eliminate the possibility because I just want to remove all the other variables, so when we start it here in a minute to see if that oil leak is gone, then I'll confidently know what the next steps will be. So it's just kind of eliminating possibilities and me with some wishful thinking for sure, but it's worth it. Okay, so many moons later, I think we are finally where I can start it. Of course, the only thing that's going to spin right now is the crank pulley, which is perfectly fine. Timing belt is all on, tensioner is on, fresh oil is in, new filter is on. Not Toyota, just an O'Reilly's brand for now. And I think it's still gonna be pretty mad when it starts, all kinds of codes for like, you know, vacuum leaks and MAF not being plugged in and stuff, but it should run and build enough oil pressure for us to see, did we fix this problem? All right, you're gonna get to experience this with me together. Cross your fingers. Holy crap, it's hot in here, Jesus. God, I hope this worked. Oh. 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 Oh my God. I think we finally mended something. Holy crap. Oh, so what is that? Coolant? I think? Yeah, oh yeah, it's just coolant. All right, whew. Okay, I think we're good. Let's go ahead and just turn it off, get everything else put back together, and then we should be able to take it for a little test drivey-wivey. Luckily, that's just coolant. That's no big deal. The money shot was right here. It was all leaking down right in front of those hoses there. And I think we're dry. Now, technically, you're supposed to let that RTV around that seal that I put on earlier cure for 24 hours. It says you wait an hour, then wait 24 hours before putting it back in operation. But it's 1,000,000 degrees out here, and I don't got time for that. So we're gonna throw everything back together and hope that it all works just fine. So thankfully, there's not a whole lot left. We need to resecure the radiator, get the cooling fan in, get the belt tensioner on, and the alternator, power steering, stuff like that. But it's basically just a bunch of bolts, and get the air intake back on, plug in the MAF, and take her for a test drive. All right, so I basically did another timing belt job. Everything is back in place, all the covers, hoses. There's just the air duct here that I'm gonna leave out for now so I can continue seeing everything, but I got it filled back up with water. Everything is on, and I don't think there's any reason we can't start it. I'm gonna get my kitty litter that dried up all that transmission fluid and this bucket out of the way, get the car back on the ground, and we'll see if it just magically healed itself. Obviously that wasn't magic. That was 6 hours in the August sun in Florida to get this done. This was, please just work. Please just continue working, and don't do this to me again. I don't wanna do this, because if it leaks again, it's such bad news, because it means the engine has to come all the way out to get that oil pump off. And I don't want to do that. I really don't want to do that. So let's see what happens. All right, car is back on the ground. Everything's hooked up. We are spinning, and we are not leaking. Woo! All right, so let's go see if AC is working. It is certainly cooling down. Oh my God, it is hot in here. Holy crap. 35°C outside, it says, whatever that is in Fahrenheit. Again, don't know why this thing switches back and forth between Celsius whenever it feels like it. Also still has more gas than that, so I know for a fact that we're still having that electrical problem, but whatever. We're back in business. Still cold, but I just wanted to give it a couple revs, build some oil pressure, kind of see what we got going on in here. Anything under? Nope. You would definitely see it. I'm gonna go get cleaned up, and then we're gonna go for a test drive later. Woo! That was some hard work, boys, not gonna lie. Whew. I couldn't help myself, I'm filthy, but that was too much work not to take a test drive right away. So hopefully I'm not leaving a giant trail of oil behind me. So far we look good. And I'm also probably gonna need to recharge the AC, because it's not getting as cold as it should by now, but we are driving. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum. Woo! Woo! We are so back, boys. Oh yeah. Oh, I remember why I like this car. God, that was the worst thing I've ever had to do. It just sucks that I had to do it so soon again. 5,000 miles. That other seal must have been bad. We'll see how long this one lasts, and then I can make kind of a better judgment as to what happened. But in any case, the LS430 is back, boys. The next thing is so much to do. I have some really cool ideas for what's coming next on the channel, both for this car and other projects. Now that we got this sorted, I'm back in the game. Like I've shared with you guys in the past, this channel is entirely all self-funded. Every single dollar that goes into this channel is my own. And so I created a website for myself, but also for other DIY car enthusiasts like you, called timetowrench.com. It's basically a DIY car maintenance tracking app, and you can get it for just $19. It's a one-time payment, no subscriptions. And that's what I'm building to try to fund the channel so I can do things like this more often. There's so much more work to be done to this LS430. I have an idea with another 3UZ based car that is just, if I can pull it off, it's gonna be insane, but it's also gonna be really expensive. So if you're interested in me doing more Toyota, Lexus, cool stuff like this, both just regular DIY kind of stuff, but also some really cool projects that involve some really, really cool stuff, then consider either joining as a member here on the channel or visiting timetowrench.com and grab a license. I so appreciate whatever your support is, whether that's just watching, joining, Time to Wrench, whatever that is. And until the next video, I'll look forward to seeing you then. I'm gonna enjoy the AC here in the LS430. Peace.